Introducing you to people across North Carolina and around the world who put their Catholic faith into action. This is FaithWorks on Catholic 540 AM Divine Mercy Radio. Now, here's your host for FaithWorks, Ellen White.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of FaithWorks on Divine Mercy Radio. Our show highlights individuals through God's grace who put their faith into action daily. Amazing people who have an interesting, sometimes overlooked impact on our Catholic faith. On FaithWorks, we share their stories. I'm your host, Ellen White. Every year, thousands of women face an unexpected pregnancy and find themselves asking difficult questions. How will I continue my education? How will I provide for my child? Where can I turn for support and hope? For more than 3 decades, MiraVia has been helping to answer those exact questions. What began as a ministry dedicated to supporting pregnant college students has grown into a life-affirming organization that provides housing, resources, education, and compassionate care to mothers and their children throughout our region. Joining us today is Debbie Capen, Executive Director of MiraVia. Debbie has dedicated much of her professional life to serving women and families during some of their most challenging moments, helping them find not only practical support, but also hope for the future. Today, we'll talk about the remarkable history of MiraVia, the lives being transformed through its work, the challenges facing women with unexpected pregnancies, and how faith continues to shape this important ministry. Debbie, welcome to FaithWorks. It's such a pleasure to have you on with us today.
Oh, Ellen, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh, this is so great. And for those who may not know you, tell us briefly about your role as Executive Director of MiraVia and what drew you to this ministry.
Oh, my goodness. This is an hour-long show, right?
Yes.
I started out as a supporter of the organization. I'm a revert to the faith. I'm a prodigal daughter. I had drifted away from the faith in high school and college. And so my journey, it unfortunately included an abortion when I was in college. And it was obviously the biggest tragedy. And so as I came back to the faith and through Divine Mercy, I just fell in love with the work that MiraVia does. And the year that they announced at their banquet that they were going to pivot and open a facility at a college just for college students, I wanted to jump out of my chair and run up on stage and say, put me in, coach, because that was my story. And there had not been anything for me and so many women like me. And so I reached out and I said, I want to help. I didn't tell my story at that time. I just said, I want to help. And I just started getting involved in the pro-life movement. And after some time, my husband and I actually took on the leadership role of Charlotte Right to Life for a few years. And so we got to know more and more people in the area. And when an opening occurred for an assistant director position, the director called me because she had gotten to know me by then and asked if I was interested. She said, St. Anthony told me to call you. She had been doing a novena, and she said in adoration, as she was asking St. Anthony, my name came to mind. And so she called me, and it was interesting because at that time I was pregnant with our 4th child. I was the primary breadwinner for our growing family. My husband was a full-time dad. And so it was a big, big decision, and really prayed on it. My heart said yes, but my brain was like, this doesn't make sense on paper. And kept praying and praying, and finally I felt the Lord say in my heart, like, if I asked you to go be a missionary on the other side of the world, wouldn't you say yes? And the obvious answer is, of course, Lord. And I felt him just say, well, why wouldn't you do it right here in your own backyard? And so that's hard to say no to. So I came on and worked as the assistant director from 2008 until 2016. And then when she retired, I took on the reins, and it's just been total proof of God's divine mercy and how he can redeem anyone and anything.
Yes, yes. And thank you so much for sharing your personal story, because I think that, in these interviews that I do, those are the most touching interviews where people are willing to share from their heart the experiences that they've had. And it's amazing how that invites others in and to help them to be willing to share their own past experiences, either with abortion or, drug abuse or whatever, and how Christ's mercy and compassion came in and transformed it and turned it into something good. So thank you for that. Yeah. And, you are so intimately familiar with the Charlotte Diocese, and I can't help but say, Debbie, how incredibly exciting it is to have 10 new priests. I am so excited for the Charlotte Diocese.
Oh, my word. It's just so beautiful. And we came back to the faith around 2000. And so, some of these young men that are priests now, I knew their parents and knew when they were born. And it's just such a beautiful thing to see these families, produce these amazing young men. So yeah, praise God.
Praise God. I'm looking forward to seeing what God does with us in the future. All right. So you've often spoken about the importance of supporting women facing unexpected pregnancies. Why is this mission, besides your own experience, why is this mission so personally meaningful to you?
Oh, wow. You mentioned that sharing stories, it's true. And the statistics say that for women over the age of 40, 40% of us have had an abortion. And it just breaks my heart that now we're moms and even some of us becoming grandmothers. And that trickle-down effect of then raising so many families that they just raise their children to be pro-choice because that's where they're coming from, right? Mm-hmm. And so the colleges especially are ground zero in this culture war, and we have to show up. We have to be there. That was one of the things when I was pregnant. I could not imagine like going away and leaving my college life behind. And the statistics showed there was a study called Perception is Reality done by a group called Feminists for Life. And their study revealed that even if there were any resources for students on their campuses, the students didn't know. And so there's this perception that there is no help, there's nothing you can do. And Planned Parenthood and the abortion clinics are more than happy to show up and act like they're the answer.
Right.
And so it's so important that we meet these young women where they are. And not make them feel like this is the end of their life, that this is just a new chapter. And that's why it's just so beautiful to see it work, right? Like you don't know if it's going to work. And now to see, women coming from all over the country to MiraVia to continue their education and embrace motherhood, it's just the best we could have ever hoped for.
Yeah, so great. And, it's so interesting, Debbie, that I was driving. I mean, I think we had already started the conversation about trying to get this interview scheduled. And I was driving up here in North Raleigh a couple of weeks ago, and there was somebody in front of me with a MiraVia bumper sticker, one of those magnet stickers. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is so interesting. Well, take us back a little bit. I want to know about MiraVia and how it started specifically. I know that there was a name change at some point. So what's the history? Tell us a little bit about it.
Wow. So way back in 1994, there was a group of Catholics in the Charlotte area that wanted to start a maternity home that was going to be authentically Catholic and faithful to the magisterium.
Yeah.
And so they launched Room at the Inn. And Room at the Inn was a maternity home in Charlotte At that time, they started to expand and they started to open a home in Greensboro. And then they ended up separating the organization. So there was, I believe they were called Room at the End of the Triad at the time, I think. And then we were Room at the End here in Charlotte. And then when we launched our new housing program that is located at Belmont Abbey College, we decided this was the perfect time to rebrand. And we looked around and you know, back in '94, that was really before anybody was on the internet. And so there was, you know, there were now over 25, I think, organizations across the country that had either Room at the Inn or Room in the Inn, something of that sort. And so we were blessed to have someone that was a friend of a board member that donated their services and helped us to find a name that would be unique. And so MiraVia came out as the winner, and it means miraculous way.
I love that.
And yeah, so, and we, you know, one of our, when we were looking at interviewing different people, we talked to some folks at colleges, like in health centers, and they said, you know, if a young woman's pregnant and we give her a folder of resources, your stuff that's in there needs to look professional. It needs to look appealing. You're going to be right next to the brochure for Planned Parenthood. And so that was another impetus for us to say, we really have to have a name that stands out, that sounds like you're going to a spa, you know, it's like,
yeah.
and so that's the story behind that. So in 2013, when we opened the facility at Belmont Abbey College, is when we adopted our new name.
Okay. So when someone asks you, what exactly does MiraVia do? How do you answer that question, Debbie?
Wow. Well, one of the lesser known secrets is that we actually have two programs. So we try to be a source for moms throughout the spectrum of needs. So we have an outreach center in Charlotte that provides material assistance, life skills classes, community to over 1,000 clients a year. So that really is like, it's a super busy, it doesn't get as much attention, but it is super busy. And then our residential program, what we're there for is just to be that safety net for young women who are in college and find out that they're pregnant, that they don't have to give up on their education. They don't have to choose abortion. And we're just as much a service to the dads too, right? If they're in a relationship, the fathers sometimes feel pressure, like, oh, do I have to drop out of school and start working right away? So we're there to just help them take a breath and make a plan. And the other thing I would say is they don't have to go to Belmont Abbey. They can go to any school. Most of our moms actually don't attend Belmont Abbey, but they live on campus in a community of their peers, and they get to feel like a sisterhood, that they're not being sent away, they're being embraced.
Yeah, and in spite of their religious beliefs, I love this because it's almost like they're coming into the arms of the church. That's the image that I got.
Yeah, people always ask, like, oh, do you have to be Catholic to live there? And I say, no, just like a Catholic hospital or a Catholic college. You know, we serve because we're Catholic. And that's the beauty of it, is they get to see the church in motion. And they can stay with us and complete their education. We provide everything from meals to diapers to childcare. We have a case manager who meets with them and helps to, you know, make sure that they're staying on goal. And if there's things that they need, it's really a wraparound, bring that village for them that they need when they didn't know where else to go.
That's great. Let's get into the nitty gritty of the services and what these women or anybody that I guess is for either program, either the outreach or the residential program. First, let's start with, what are some of the biggest fears that women face when they discover that they are unexpectedly pregnant, would you say, Debbie?
Oh, my goodness. I mean, not only from my own experience, but talking to all of our clients, it's like, I describe it, it's like trying to drink from a fire hose of fear, because you look at the test and suddenly it's 1,000 fears. It's what are my parents going to think? What are my friends going to think? What's the father of the baby going to think? Am I going to have to drop out of school? How am I going to support this baby? Will people judge me? It's just really, and society reinforces this, that, oh, it's the end of your life. Oh, it's going to be terrible. And we have to change that conversation. And I always encourage people, start at home, like make sure that your own families know that you would support them if this happened. Because honestly, that's usually like the biggest fear that our moms have, is how are they going to tell their parents? Their parents are going to be so upset. And we have to be ready to be the church and to do what the church teaches and help them to take the next good step.
So you would recommend, like, even early on, or as our kids are going off to college, just saying, if you find yourself in this predicament, how would you suggest having that conversation with our children?
Yeah, I have 7 kiddos, and five of those are daughters. So,
yes.
We talk about the fact, and age appropriate, right? That yes. It's easy for me because I can talk about the work that I do, but I think that that's one of the things that you can talk about around the kitchen table is, what does it mean to be pro-life? We are pro-life. What does that mean? And you can say to your own children, like, look, I want you to know that I want the best for you. But if something goes off course, I want you to know that you can come to me first, and that I will help us to get back on course. And so that they're not afraid, because that fear is just such a scary thing. And it's, we think we're so grown up when we're 18, but I look back, I was like, oh my gosh, I was a baby.
Yes, that's right.
and those frontal lobes are not fully developed until 25, right? So,
exactly.
So we have to help our young adults to understand that that fear is just that. It's not reality. It's a fear that everything can be figured out.
Yeah. It's interesting that you mentioned dads too, because I just recently interviewed Sean Corcoran with Men for Life. And I don't know if you've heard of him or this group or their story. His story is phenomenal, and I highly recommend that you check it out. But suffice it to say that he had experienced an abortion first year in college, and his girlfriend, the mother of the child, received tremendous support from the institution. But when he approached the institution and told them about his, predicament, he received nothing. So I guess my question initially, Debbie, is how are you making yourselves known on not only Belmont Abbey, but other, college campuses locally or beyond, to say that you are the best option for these young women that find themselves pregnant, and men?
Well, and it's thanks to people like you who invite us on the show. Most of our moms find us through a referral of a friend or family member. And it is an uphill battle, especially at secular colleges, to just get the foot in the door and to share the successes. We are constantly, because you have to build trust. And what we have found is, if we could just get somebody to come for a tour, and once they see it, it's like the light bulb goes off in their head. So it's an uphill battle with reaching out to secular organizations, but we actually have a new program, and I invite anybody that's listening. We have a new program where we have ambassadors. We're asking college students to be our ambassadors on their own campuses. And because one thing, when I look back at all of our clients, the ones who really thrived, who really embraced the program, were ones that were referred to us by a friend. And I think there's something about that age where they really prioritize the advice of friends sometimes. And so as much as we want all of the moms and aunts and uncles and grandparents to know that we're out there for their families, we want, the young people to know too, that if their friend gets pregnant, they can recommend them to us. So yeah, we have the ambassadors, we do mailings, we do emails, we show up on and any campus that allows us to go and table at their campus, we do it. I'm always available to come and speak on campuses. We have wonderful ambassadors of former clients that go out and speak as well. So we are just always looking for those invitations.
Yeah, right. And, I would even recommend. So my daughter happened to be in a conversation that I was having with a woman that was working with the local birth choice several years ago. This is before she graduated from college. And she had a whole stack of cards in her hand and she gave some to my daughter. And it was just a fluke, quote unquote, conversation. And then that very next week in school, she overheard one of her classmates saying that she had just found herself pregnant, and she just handed her the card, and she started crying and just was really appreciative of it. And, I don't know what came out of it, but I mean, it's like you said, it's personal invitation, having note cards to share with different people on campus, or, I don't even know if they do billboards anymore, maybe all digital. Just sticking these things up there because you never know how the Lord is going to use that to point somebody to it. So
no, we had a mom from Birth Choice in Raleigh who came to us, and that's the other beautiful thing is seeing like you said, the role that we all play, whether it be having that card ready to give to a friend,
right,
or just remembering these resources so that when it comes up unexpectedly, you're prepared and you're like, oh, I've got just the thing,
Yes. I know. It's so fantastic. I love it. Now, many people assume the issue is simply financial with, finding themselves in an unplanned pregnancy. What are some of the other challenges that these women carry when they come to you, Debbie?
Oh my, yeah, so much of it is just psychological because before you can even get to the logistics, and most of it starts with identity. They can't imagine themselves being a mom. They can't imagine themselves different than what they picture or the future that they had pictured for themselves. And one of my favorite questions to ask our moms when they're leaving is, what would you go back and tell yourself at that moment in the bathroom or wherever it was? Like, what would you go back and tell yourself then? And 9 times out of 10, they want to go back and say, don't be afraid. You won't believe what an amazing mom you're going to be and how much joy this child is going to bring you. I think that beyond, like, am I going to have to find off-campus housing or go to work or find childcare? Those are all absolutely the nuts and bolts of what they need to do. But first of all, it's just embracing the identity of motherhood. Is really the first hurdle. Yeah. And some of our moms do choose adoption as their parenting plan. And so we're there for that as well. So it's really whatever they want to do. But just helping them to understand, like I heard one person, Allison Centofonte, one time said, can you do 9 months so that someone else can do 90 years? And I was like, wow, that's pretty powerful.
Yes. What a great phrase. Can you do 9 months so somebody else can do 90 years? That's fantastic. All right. If you're just tuning in, this is Ellen White with FaithWorks on Divine Mercy Radio. And today I have the pleasure of speaking with Debbie Capen, Executive Director of MiraVia, a Christ-centered ministry dedicated to supporting pregnant mothers and their children through housing, education, mentoring, and life-affirming care. In our conversation today, we're exploring the history and mission of MiraVia, the challenges facing women experiencing unexpected pregnancies, and the transformative impact that compassionate support can have on the lives of mothers and their children. And we're grateful for our show's sponsor, Thales College, for supporting FaithWorks and helping us share these stories of faith in action. Debbie, what are some of the misconceptions people have about the women MiraVia serves?
Oh, gosh. Well, I'd say, first of all, people think, oh, is there really a need? That always is, people always say, oh, and the research shows that conservatively, that 2% of female college students get pregnant every year. And I just did the quick math. So like at Chapel Hill, that would be 400 students a year are getting pregnant. And so I would say that, and then, that they have to go to a 4-year degree, which is not true. In fact, like, for instance, the young woman that came to us from Raleigh, she ended up going to beauty school. We have moms that went to firefighter school. We have moms that, are CNAs, or, whatever path they were on, that's what we want to help them to continue. And I'd say that there's the misconception that they're being hidden away, that they're going, like, no, this is like a mommy academy. Most of our moms come out just super proud to have been at MiraVia, because they understand, like, it's like this place where they transform into, find their hidden superpowers of being able to juggle going to school and being a mom and working a part-time job. And so these moms that are with us, they're heroic. They're strong women, and we're just here to kind of provide the environment. It's kind of like a cocoon, like helping them to find that place where they can be safe and come out, as the moms that they can be.
I keep imagining these little babies and just being able to take care of all these little babies. It's just, Well, tell me a little bit about it, and this is very unique. How many other college residence programs are there, like what you have at Belmont Abbey?
Just a handful. Okay. There's the closest one is Baby Steps down at Auburn. Their model is they rent or they have a house near campus. They're not officially affiliated with the school. There's a few other schools that have women and children housing. But I think where we're very unique is that it's a full circle of services from the moment they come in to all their meals, the child care, the case management, the life skills classes, living in community together, having meals together is really like a sorority. It really is. And then God bless the monks at Belmont Abbey. The school provides 100% tuition assistance for the moms that do go to Belmont Abbey. So it's really miraculous. It is a miraculous way.
100% tuition coverage if they're a part of this program.
Yes.
That's
indeed.
Amazing. That is fantastic. All right. Well, I love that there's, housing and childcare and life skills training and mentoring. It sounds so beautiful. Beyond meeting these needs, how do you help women move toward long-term independence and stability, Debbie?
Yeah. So that's part of the case management is when as soon as they come in, they're making a plan, and we're looking at, okay, when do you anticipate that you will need to leave? You've graduated, and helping them to figure that out. And so we set this target date and work backwards from there. So they're working on, when do I need to get a part-time job? How do I, how much do I need to save? When should I apply for childcare resources? For daycare? Would I qualify for any housing assistance? So, and then every case is different too. So we really are there to say, okay, what is it that you want, that you envision, and let's put together a plan. And God bless our community. We're always reaching out. We're always looking for new people who are willing to call and say, hey, I own this business and I would be happy to have interns, or, anything that we would do that we would want for our own children in college. That's what we're trying to, to make those connections for them, to help them to have everything in place for success.
Wow. What a wonderful way of, we feel like we're giving and to a beautiful organization, but we receive so much in the giving that we do. Wow, this is incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess tell me what success would look like for a woman who enters MiraVia's doors. What would you say?
Every mom it's like a relationship. They come in and they're very scared. I'd say I can't think of a single mom who didn't shed some tears, coming in just either out of fear or relief.
Right.
And for us, success for them is what was their plan? Like, what did they envision for themselves? And now let's just figure out how to do that while also embracing motherhood.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you an example. There was a mom in Washington, D.C., who had gone for an abortion, and the sidewalk counselor was able to speak with her, and kind of like how you said, she wanted to provide resources, and she had heard at a conference about MiraVia. And even though she couldn't remember the name right off the top of her head, she Googled it. She's like, oh, okay, yes, here it is. It's MiraVia. They called us. Their little group of people, faithful people, put the money together and flew this mom to come for a visit. And she came, she visited us. She went over to the admissions office. They were able to transfer her within a week from her college to Belmont Abbey. She graduated with a degree in criminal justice, and now she and her son live in Atlanta. You know, she has her own place. She's working. And so that's what for us success is. It's like, what was it that you wanted to do? And we will just help put all those pieces together in a loving environment, you know, where, you know, they know that they're being prayed for. They know that they are surrounded by a community that cares. And I think that that is just a huge part of it too. Like you said, it's MiraVia is here, but it's the community. It's the kingdom of God being able to come together in one place and say, okay, here's how we can solve this problem.
It's one big family. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, besides this young lady from DC, what are some of the most rewarding moments you've witnessed firsthand, Debbie, during your years with this ministry?
Gosh, there's so many. But I will say one of the ones that will always be in my heart is we had a mom who came up from the Midlands of South Carolina, and she came in knowing that she wanted to place for adoption. And at the time, I was pregnant with my youngest, and we were due within a week of each other. And we were going through this pregnancy journey together, and she just had the greatest sense of humor and personality, and we would just share stories. But she knew that she was going to be placing, you know, this child. And we ended up delivering our babies 2 weeks apart. And I came back to work, and I brought my son with me to work, and she had placed her son, and she would come and sit in my office and hold Joseph. And she said, you know, this is very actually helpful and healing for me to have this experience that she, you know, I didn't know how she would feel about it. And it just really opened my eyes to the journey of our beloved birth moms and all the birth moms that are out there, that I think that the grief that they bear is so untold. And yeah, so for me, I would say that's one of the biggest things that my heart is just so raw and emotional when I think about what these moms do, the heroic things that they do for their child. There's that story. Oh my gosh, there's so many. We've had moms that came in thinking that they had a poor prenatal diagnosis. And being able to make sure they're getting the help that they need, and then to see that baby be born healthy. And I mean, each mom has this miraculous way. I hate to keep saying, but it's so true. It's like every single one of them. We have dads. The dad that you mentioned that you had heard of or that you interviewed. We had a young man that was at Belmont Abbey, and his girlfriend got pregnant. They decided not to stay together, and she decided to go back to her home state, but they had joint custody. And so even though he couldn't move into MiraVia, every time he would have the baby for visits and custody weekends or a week, he would come by, we'd load him up with supplies, you know, we'd stay with the baby. I mean, it was just to be able to support a dad who was going through that journey too was just there's so many men out there too that are the unsung heroes when a couple chooses life.
Yeah. Have there been stories where you look back and simply said, only God could have done that?
Oh, completely. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Oh, there are just so many. I'm going through my little Rolodex of my of all my mamas. But I would say the moms that were, we had a mom last year that she went for an abortion. The mobile ultrasound unit was outside, and she was not convinced that she wanted to have an abortion. She was just scared that she wouldn't be a good mom. Mm-hmm. And she was being pressured by her family, by her mother and her grandmother, to have an abortion. And she said, I just want to go in that and get an ultrasound. Just let me go do that. And she went in, and she was wrapped with love by the folks from the Help Pregnancy Care Center. And she came out and she said, I'm going to do this. And they gave her our information. She moved in, and she gave birth to the most amazing, beautiful little baby girl. And one of my favorite quotes is, I always say that babies make great peacemakers. And once that baby's here, everybody just falls in love. Mm-hmm. And so her family was able to reconcile and embrace that child and that grandchild. And another thing I'll say too is I really want all the listeners and everyone to know that one of our greatest challenges right now is chemical abortion.
Yes.
And this particular mom, her grandmother had ordered the abortion pill for her and was trying to get her to take it. And we received a call from a young woman she knew that her boyfriend had ordered it, and she was worried that he was going to put it in her food or her drink. The just pure evil of this, of people being able to not see a doctor, to pretend to be a woman and order it online and use it to harm to harm a baby. I'm just so grateful for the mom who was able to be strong enough to go and to get that ultrasound and to come out. But for that mom, how many more, just are too afraid to stand up? And yeah.
Yeah. And the abortion pill is called mifepristone. And we've done several stories on the abortion pill reversal drug and how if you get it in time, there's a chance that you can save the baby too. So I want to get that information out there.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, it's so sad to think that these women that are, struggling so much with fear, and they, find themselves with these pills, and they're doing this in their own home, without, in a facility. So just the trauma that they encounter, post abortion, and having to go to the emergency room often because of complications with this. So, it's really important to get the word out with what you're doing there at MiraVia and Birth Choice, and just really love these mamas and help to get them beyond that fear. And the ultrasound, I can't remember specifics on the statistics with once a woman has an ultrasound and she sees the baby and that connection, chances are pretty good that baby is going to be saved. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And college campuses, Plan B is just distributed like candy. I mean, some campuses have vending machines. I gave a talk at UNC Charlotte, and someone was telling me that they went to their health clinic for, like a sinus infection, and they looked up, and on the wall were boxes of Plan B, just free for the taking.
For those that aren't familiar with that name, it's just been coined not too long ago as the abortion pill.
Yeah.
Just so unfortunate. All right. So I love, and we haven't said the website yet for MiraVia. Let's share that.
Yes, please come and visit us. We are at miravia.org. So it's M as in Mary, IRAV as in victory, IA.org. And I also would love if anybody, whatever social media platform you're on, we are there too. And our handle is MiraVia Life. And so please find us there, because you never know. We had a mom who came because her friend shared one of our posts from Twitter. And we're now X. So you never know that, something you share at a moment might catch somebody just at the right time.
Yes. Okay. So we've got just a few minutes left, Debbie, and I want to kind of get into MiraVia and how you describe yourselves as Christ-centered and modeled after the Holy Family. How does faith shape the way you serve women and children?
Oh, yeah. So we are just so blessed to be right there at Belmont Abbey. And the Benedictines, their charism is hospitality and also welcoming every person in persona Christi. And so we get to be a part of that. And so our staff, even though not all of our staff are Catholic, we are a Catholic organization, and we operate that way. And we just let all these moms know that we're there because we serve a God who loves them. And we offer devotionals at dinner. So each night there's devotion time. We have Mass every, Abbot Passek comes and celebrates Mass in our chapel. We're so blessed to have the Blessed Sacrament right there in our chapel. We have a wonderful counselor. She has an organization called Knots Untied, after Our Lady Undoer of Knots. And she does Catholic focused counseling and coaching with our moms who want to participate in that. So we really just encourage them to find and reignite their faith and live it.
Oh, I love that. Not Untied. I'll have to check into that. What do you wish churches better understood about supporting pregnant women and young families?
Oh, I wish they understood that it is in our pews in every parish. I think a lot of times we think it's an out there issue. And I have yet to meet a family that somewhere along the way was not impacted by an unplanned pregnancy. And so I think we have to understand that it is happening right in our own neighborhoods, our churches, our schools, our workplaces, and that we have to be the hands and feet of Christ. We can't continue to talk about it like it's just it is a political issue, don't get me wrong, but it's also a very practical issue of just showing love and support to those that are right within our own worlds. So yeah,
and it's a precious life that we're talking about here. If someone is listening today, Debbie, and wants help, what are the most meaningful ways that they want to help? They don't need help, but they want to help. Let me start that again. That's too confusing. If someone listening today wants to help, what are the most meaningful ways they can get involved?
Oh, I always say start with prayer and ask the Holy Spirit, because God, if you've thought it, then you're supposed to. God is calling you to do something.
Yes.
And so I, pray, find out what's going on just already that's happening, and get together with those people and be a part of something I always say, like, sometimes, yes, it is starting a new organization. That's great. But oftentimes it's like, what's already happening? And if we just all, get together. So whether it's a PRC, whether it's a Respect Life, whether it's, going out and knocking on doors, like, everybody has their gifts and their strengths. And I'd say figure out where your gift and your strength can fit. So it might be a pregnancy resource center. It might be at a place like MiraVia. It might be, some folks are like, I can give financially. Other people are like, I can volunteer. But God knows what each person should do. I say, just ask him and he'll tell you.
Yes, he will. Just put yourself out there. Okay. And final question here. When a frightened young woman walks through MiraVia's doors for the first time, what do you hope she experiences in those first few moments?
Oh, we hope that she experiences love and hope and welcoming. We make sure that we say congratulations. We invite them. One of the first things that we invite a new potential mom to do is come and have lunch with us and the other moms.
Oh, great
and
idea.
they get to understand, like, oh, this isn't the end of the world. These are happy thriving young women that, yes, life looks different than what they pictured, but it's actually it's just magnified. It's life magnified. It's better.
Gosh, Debbie, thank you so much for sharing your time and your heart and the inspiring work through MiraVia. This is amazing. And again, it's miravia.org, miravia.org for more information. Okay. And the stories you shared today remind us that when women and families are surrounded by support, encouragement, and hope, lives can be transformed for generations. If you missed any part of this episode or want to catch up on past conversations filled with inspiration and hope, you can find them all at divinemercyradio.org. Just click on local shows. And don't forget, you can take FaithWorks with you wherever you go. Just download the free Divine Mercy Radio app from your app store. Simply search Divine Mercy Radio NC, and you're all set anytime, anywhere. God bless.